Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. For anyone that's new here, my name's OwenAlec, and on this channel I do everything drum related. That includes drum covers, tutorials, tips and advice, plus gear reviews just like this video. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, please do consider subscribing, hit the like button, all that good stuff, because it really does help the channel. Now, today in this video, we're going to be doing probably what I would say is the most in-depth drumhead review that I've ever done, and this is with Code Drumheads. So I started talking to the guys at Code Drumheads last year at the UK Drum Show, and they were super accommodating, very helpful, and I said to them, basically, I'm looking to do a gear review for the channel, but I don't know what to get. I don't really know your products that well. So I told them the kind of stuff that I usually play, and they kind of said, okay, well, this is our equivalence, if you like, but we strongly recommend these ones for this particular type of sound. So what we've gone for are a mixture of generators, DNA clears, Enigma, Blast. I think there was a couple of others as well. These have got some really cool names. So once I get these on the kit, I'll go over them in depth, and you can kind of see exactly what it is that I've bought and in what configuration. Now, before we go any further, I just want to let you guys know that whilst these drum heads have been sent to me at an artist discount rate, I have still paid for them, and I'm not being paid for this review. All thoughts and opinions are my own. So without further ado, we now have the arduous task of getting all the drums out of there and getting them reheaded. Wish me luck, guys. So we've finally got all of the drum heads on, and I haven't heard them yet other than tuning them up. So this is going to be interesting to kind of see what they sound like and my first impressions. Now, there's a couple of things I just want to know before we get into this. First one is I did a review a little while ago of a kick drum head, a Remo one, and I got a comment on that video saying, what's the point in doing a review of a head if you're just going to stuff the kick drum? So with that in mind, I've taken their advice, and there is no stuffing or padding of any kind inside the kick drum. Secondly, I've not put any dampening whatsoever on the snare or on the toms or anything like that. And lastly, this review is actually going to be done in two parts. It's going to be in the same video, but I'm going to be doing it over two sections. Now, the main thing is I want to hear what these heads sound like initially. My first impressions, what they sound like right out of the box and just straight away tuned up. I've broken them in, obviously, like, you know, kind of pressed on the head, but I've not actually played them. So first impressions are going to be key here. The second part is that I'm going to be leaving these heads on for the next couple of weeks. So when you guys see this, this is going to be weeks on ahead. So essentially, I've got a gig with my thrash band Beyond Salvation coming up this Friday, and I'm going to be using this snare for that gig. So we're going to see how that holds up. I've also got some session work and other bits of things like drum covers and stuff to do, and I'm going to be using this kit for it, obviously. So these heads are going to take a beating over the next few weeks, and it's going to be really interesting to see how they handle what I'm going to throw at them. So I'm just going to go through each of the head combinations to tell you what I'm using. On the toms, I'm using the generator clears on the tops, and on the bottom is the DNA clears. And these are 10, 12, and 16. For the kick batter, I'm using a 22-inch Blast Clear, and on the resonant head, I'm using a 22-inch Enigma Black. I have put the kick porthole in the resonant head, mainly because I want to give you guys a much rounder sound as to what the whole kick drum is going to sound like. And also, that's just kind of my vibe, the way I like to capture that sound. So yeah, I've put the kick porthole in, and that is going to give you a much truer sound. And then finally, for the snare batter, I'm using a 14-inch Zero on the top, and then the Genetic 3s for the resonant head. So without further ado, let's jump in with the kick drum. I'm going to do these individually, and I'm also going to listen without my in-ears in for the time being, so I can get a real good first impression, and we'll see how this goes. Well, that's a very meaty sound, isn't it? Now, for my personal taste, I would prefer to have that ever so slightly dampened. It's just got a little bit too much ring for me. But again, just for the purposes of this review, I'm going to leave it without any dampening for the time being. Overall, it has a really nice deep sound. Like I say, it's got a little bit too much resonance, but I'm very much liking the tone and the attack that I'm getting out of this head. It did actually come with an attack patch. I haven't put that on. I just wanted to hear the kick drum as is for the time being, but I may put that on later. I will, of course, be very intrigued to see how this sounds through the microphones after. But let's move on to the toms. So we've got first is the 10-inch rack tom. Now, something that I am noticing with this one straight away, I'm not sure if the other one's going to be the same, it's got a very short sustain on it. And I quite like that. It's got this really nice attack, this really nice bright sound, but then it's kind of very quickly getting out of the way. So it's not overdoing things, it's not overpowering anything, so I quite like that. Blimey, these toms are so loud, they're setting off all the cymbals as well. But yeah, again, quite a short sustain with these. The floor tom is really nice and deep and thuddy. That's exactly how I like it. I'm really liking these reinforcement rings that they have on them. It's really helping to control the overtones. These have been like super easy to tune, by the way. So yeah, I'm really liking that sound. The 12-inch rack tom is always a bit of a pain. You know, you can never get that right. It's always been a bit of a bane of drummers' lives, but this is actually sounding really nice. And I like how the intervals between the two are really complementary. I do think this one could come down maybe a smidge more, but that's really nice, especially between these two as well. So yeah, the toms are sounding really thick and meaty, but not kind of too in your face and not sustaining for too long, so they're not kind of overpowering. But how is the snare? This is the one that I'm most intrigued about, because for me, the snare is one of the most important parts of the entire kit. It's the thing that people know you for, and it's kind of your signature sound. So I really want this to be really, really nice. I don't know, I'm kind of worried, but let's give it a go. Oh, wow. That has just got so much power and tone. Wow, that's really doing my ears in. Oh. Let's see how this sounds with a full kit. Right, well, the first thing that's jumping out at me is the sound of this snare. This is absolutely cutthroat. I absolutely love this. It's got so much tone and body to it, but the overtones aren't overbearing. And maybe it might need either another retune, or it might just need a drum dot or something just right at the edge, just to control some of those little overtones at the edge for my personal taste. But if I was recording that, that would sound incredible. I'm really, really blown away by just how good that is. So for anybody that's been watching this channel for any length of time, you'll know that I've been using Evans since I pretty much first started drumming. That's well over 17 plus years ago. And I've just always loved the sound of theirs. It's been kind of my signature sound, if you like, and the sound that I've come to know and love. These are really giving Evans a run for the money. And I'm very, very impressed with not just the sound, but how easy they were to tune, and also the cost of them. I mean, I'm going to go through a full costings very shortly, but wow, this were absolutely insane. Like, so much cheaper than Evans to begin with, and if these guys hold up the way that I think they're going to, over, like I say, over the coming weeks when I do some more work with them, some drum covers, some stuff for my second channel, my live stream that I've got coming up, these things are going to take a beating, and I am really hoping that they hold up. So time will tell on that one. But the question is, how do they sound in a full mix? So I'm going to A/B a few tests for you. So first off, you're going to hear the raw drums, then you're going to hear the processed drums, and you're going to hear it in a full mix. Okay, so at the time of recording this segment, this is a drum cover that I recorded yesterday, and it'll be going out tomorrow, which is the 11th of April. This is Linkin Park's One Step Closer, and I just wanted to kind of load this up to show you guys exactly what the drums sound like raw through the microphones. Because to be honest, this is the first time I'm hearing these drum heads through microphones, and I've been absolutely blown away by just how good they sound completely raw. Now you'll see that on the left hand side here, I do have some plugins, but this was just to kind of see what they sounded like with a little bit of auto-align. And if you don't know, auto-align is just getting things in phase. It's nothing to do with time aligning or beat detecting or anything like that. You can still see that things are completely out of time. So what I'm going to do is actually turn off auto-align, and I've just got the gates on the toms just because there was a little bit of resonance that was coming through that was kind of spoiling the sound a little bit, but obviously we can take care of those dead easily. Just because they're close mics, you don't really get that sound in the room or in the end product. So I'm just going to play this for you guys, and like I say, this is completely raw. There is no volume adjustments, there's no panning or any other effects. So I'm really enjoying just how clear everything is, for starters. There doesn't seem to be too many overtones. I mean, this is going to be really minimal editing that I'm going to have to do and mixing on this. The first thing that really stood out to me was the kick drum sound. I mean, it was super punchy. It does have a little bit of the mids that needs kind of scooping out a little bit. Again, this is probably just down to the tuning that I've done. And then some of the low end is going to need to be beefed up a little bit. But just listen to that attack. It sounds amazing. I really like that. Like I say, it sounds super punchy. You got a lot of clarity in that high end, and then it just needs a little bit of the mids and lows kind of treating a little bit. But again, I think that's partly down to the way I've tuned it. So I'm just going to play this again for you. It's going to be without the auto-align, but then I'm going to engage it so you can kind of A-B the difference. The main thing that I'm hearing there is the snare just kind of has this lovely low end to it that's really starting to poke out a little bit more. The kick is getting a little bit more low end as well. Everything just seems to be beefier, a lot more full, and overall just a much more cohesive sound. So I highly recommend getting auto-align too, because it's just such a lovely plugin. It wasn't that expensive. And I use this on every single drum cover, every single project that I do for like session work when I send it off to a client, even if I'm just sending them the raw files, I always put auto-align 2 on because it just aligns everything nicely for the, like I say, for the phase. And it's a really great way of giving the client something that has got a great foundation for them to start mixing to. Now, if you'd like to hear what these drums sound like fully mixed as part of the cover that I actually did for this, I'll leave a link to the drums only version in the top corner in the cards right now. This video is sponsored by Lalo.ai. If you're looking to split the stems on your favourite song for whatever kind of project, then this is the site for you. For years and years, whenever I used online software to take the drums out of a song so I could do a drum cover to it, it sounded horrible. Like it was underwater, loads of artifacting. It was not pleasant at all. But then a few months back, I discovered Lalo.ai and I was blown away by just how good their algorithm is. And the fact is, you guys have been listening to it for the past few months. Every time I've done a drum cover, it's been using Lalo.ai's technology to get rid of the drums and put mine in place of it. So you can take a song that sounds like this and make it sound like this. And not sound like this. There's an affiliate link in the description below if you want to go and check them out and get some more information. Also, it does help out the channel, so thank you very much for that. Anyway, let's get into the video.
3 weeks later.
Okay, so it's been about 3 weeks, and in that time I've done plenty of practices. I've done a few drum covers, I've played a gig, and I've done some practices of my own. And yeah, these heads are holding up really nicely. Of course, I have had to slightly retune the toms and the snare, not so much the kick. This is mainly just because the heads were settling in, so I'm not really counting that too much. Other than that, they've been really stable. Now, the gig that I did the other week, I planned on getting some footage for you guys so you can see it in action, but unfortunately, the footage corrupted, and I was really aggravated with that. But unfortunately, that happens sometimes with GoPros. Needless to say, I did genuinely get some compliments from the crowd about the snare. A lot of them, and the sound guy did say it was like one of the loudest snares I've ever heard, which of course is partly down to the shell, but also the head itself as well. The guys in Beyond Salvation have also been very complimentary about the heads. They seem to really like them, so overall, this has been a really lovely experience. Now, there's two alterations that I want to let you guys know about, but essentially these are just down to personal preference. The first off is that I'm using a mini drum dot on the snare head. It's a very open sounding snare, and I'm used to something a lot drier, so I wanted to bring some of the overtones just under control just a little bit, and the mini dot does it absolutely perfectly. This sounds incredible now. The other thing is that I've put a pillow in the kick drum. It's something I'm a little bit more used to, and it was very boomy. I much prefer a thud kind of sound. So I've still got the attack from the head, and it sounds absolutely amazing, and I'm still getting quite a bit of resonance, but I'm not getting too much sustain. So let's get down to brass tacks. I'm going to rate these heads in 4 different categories. The first one is price, tunability, durability, and overall sound. I'm going to be giving each one of them a score out of 10, and then when we get the final score, we're going to compare that to its equivalents in Evans, and we'll kind of see how they weigh up. So first off is price, and to be perfectly honest, this was something that kind of shocked me. I've actually got the prices here of all the heads that I've used, but recommended retail price. So not the price that I've paid, that was something separate, but what you guys might expect to pay. So we're going to start off with the batter head for the toms, and they were generator clears. So the 10 was £20, the 12 is 22, and the 16 was 31. The DNA clears that are on the resonant side were 13, 15, and 21. Then for the 14-inch snare, the top is a 0 coated, and that was £20. The Genetic 3 on the clear on the bottom was 16. Then we've got the 22 batter head, which was a blast clear, and that is £56. And the Enigma Black resonant head for the kick was £52. All that comes up to a total of £266, which sounds like a lot, but if you, in terms of like reheading an entire kit, pretty respectable. Now, this is where things got interesting, because I actually looked then at the recommended retail prices for all the equivalents from Evans. So it was EC2s, G1s, power sensor reverse dot for the top snare head, and then a Hazy 300 on the bottom. For the kick, it was then for the batter an EQ3. I was going to go with the EMAD, but then I thought the EQ3 is probably closer to the blast. And then, of course, another EQ3 for the resonant side. Now, again, I want to stress this is recommended retail price. Most shops will sell these a little bit different, and with Evans as well, you can get a Pro Pack. Sometimes the cost may come down a little bit, but I wouldn't expect it to come down too much. The overall price for all of that was £360. That's £94 more than code. So you got to ask yourself, is it worth it? Well, that's a question that we're going to be answering at the end of this video. But with that in mind, I'm going to give code heads a 9 out of 10 for price. I think they are incredibly competitive. So if you are a little bit strapped for cash and you want to save some money, going with code might just be the way for you. Second, we have tunability. And this was something that was really interesting for me because, again, all I've ever used was Evans, and they tune up pretty damn well. But I was incredibly surprised by just how well these guys tuned up as well, and how well they've kept the tuning as well. There was a small amount of issue with the tom batters and the kick batter, I think, as well. Just getting those dialed in, pitch matched correctly. I just couldn't quite get it right first time. But after the heads had settled in, it was no trouble whatsoever. Ironically, I think the snare was probably the easiest to tune, and typically that's one of the hardest because A, it's got more lugs, but also you've got to tune it right up, and if it's not pitch matched correctly, it can sound absolutely awful, but this tuned up really quite easily. So for overall tunability, I'm going to give them 8 out of 10. Third, we have durability, and even though I am an incredibly heavy hitter, and there are very small amounts of dents in these, they've held up so well. And I don't think there's, like I said, it's very small amounts of pitting on the toms. There's a few marks, a very small amount of scrapes on the snare. And again, I've gigged this, and I'm a heavy hitter, as you can probably tell from my sticks. I do rim shots. So these heads have definitely taken a beating, but they're coming out strong. So for durability, I'm going to give these guys another 8 out of 10. And then lastly, of course, we have the tone and general overall sound. And I must admit, I'm sold. I absolutely love the sound of these things. I just love how responsive they are. You've got this really lovely attack as soon as you hit them, and really nice amount of sustain, but then they get out of the way. They don't sort of stick around and kind of start trying to mask other parts of the kit. The snare is incredibly snappy and full and thick. I can tune it right up and it doesn't want to start becoming thin like I've had some heads do in the past. This head in particular really seems to thrive on being either super low and kind of thick and what have you, but then also tuned up really nice and high and have a really nice crack to it. It certainly seems to be a head that can do it all. And the kick drum just sounds really meaty. I love the attack on it. I know I mentioned this before, but I really love the attack of this head. I haven't even got a click pad on it, so you're getting a huge amount of attack out of it just from the head itself. And now that I've actually put a little bit of dampening in it, it's just suited my taste a little bit more, and I really love the thud and the beefiness that I'm getting out of it. But it's also quite tamed in that it's not boomy, it's not sustaining like a cannon. It's really just got this really lovely thud to it. So I'm just going to do another quick demo for you guys with the alterations I mentioned before. And it's up to you guys whether or not you think code heads might just be the heads for you. So my final thoughts for this are that I am super impressed with Code drum heads. I kind of went into this not really knowing what to expect, and I've heard of Code before, I've heard good stories, I've heard bad stories, but overall I've had a really wonderful experience with these. And I'm just so grateful that I've had the opportunity now to try them out and make up my own mind. But please guys, let me know what you think in the comment sections below. Did you enjoy these? Have you tried Code out yourself? Again, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now.